Hello, hello, everybody.
Life is life, and welcome, y'all.
Welcome. Real life, real power, real you. We here,
Yes,
we here, we in the place.
this is real life.
Listen,
I'm like sitting all the way up because real life is happening, and that is fine. One thing. I am Marissa, by the way, Marissa with a C, your embodiment coach, breathwork facilitator, free, courageous, authentic woman who supports Black folk in taking a breath, releasing the weight of the world,
yes.
and designing a life of radical self love, freedom, and abundance. And I'm here with my friend Latoya. And before I jump into anything, let me let Latoya share a little bit about herself.
Hey, everybody. I'm Latoya, your inner power coach, guide, and practitioner, helping spiritually conscious fempreneurs realize what their real subconscious blocks are so that they can clear that and
Oh, you
reclaim
did.
their goddess powers, okay? Reclaim their goddess powers and rewrite the legacy, their financial legacy, their spiritual legacy, and their inner power legacy. That's what we do.
Ashe, Ashe. And so, yeah, before coming on here, let me tell you, I am pretty transparent with what's going on in my real life. And so I got this cute little scarf on because your girl's getting her hair done. I'm a Black girl, and it takes some time sometimes to get a little braid, a little protective style. And so, yeah, we were like, we're still gonna jump on here. We just gonna keep it cute. So that's what's happening. And it is so funny. This is the second I realized how much of unmasking I have done in my life to this point. Like I really don't care what I look like to other people. I know that there's a message that I get to share, and I'm going to share it. And so this is not the first time I have not looked like my most, I don't know, cutest self or whatever we want to call it, because it doesn't matter what we look like when we're out here sharing our gifts, right? I will definitely say uh, I could definitely say this past no 2 Sundays ago, I went to meet my partner's family for a graduation party, and I had never met his dad before, but we were really excited to meet each other. Child had a headscarf on, and as soon he hugged me so hard, my headscarf fell off. Okay, my little my little gel braids was exposed, and I was like, "Oops, excuse me." I was like, "Oh well, I'm still cute. It's fine in front of everybody," and I did not
Listen,
care.
this is what it's called: secure with yourself,
Yeah,
secure in who you are,
yeah,
um, inviting people into the real you.
yeah.
Because what's the opposite of that? The opposite of that is meeting the love of your life or the family
Represent.
of your life with everything. And listen, I don't mean to offend anybody, right? You do what you do, but the difference is going with everything fake.
Yeah,
You
or
know,
your representative that you're sharing, not the real full
not the
version of you.
real you, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
so
They got it all.
they got you. Hey, I love that. They
And they
got
still like
you.
it. Yeah. And they had no problem. They still liked me. We still were able to connect, and there was no issues. There was a lot of apologies, profusely apologizing, but I was like, it's fine. I still had my little red lip on, so you couldn't tell me nothing, okay?
Authenticity at its
Yeah.
finest.
Yeah.
At its finest.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So today, the topic is, or maybe we should switch the topic, but the topic is, you know what? I do see the connection. Hold on. I do see the
Yeah.
connection. The topic
Okay.
today is other people's harvest, right? When
Mhm.
we're out here in real life. And I can speak to this. You're out here in real life, and today, real life tends to be social media,
Yeah.
right? Or what we think is real life, right? Quote unquote. And we're out here seeing the life that people are portraying and
Mhm.
feeling like we want to have that too, right? And there's nothing wrong with having ambition and having goals and wanting to elevate, but we're looking at people and thinking that's their life, right? And I can
Yeah.
tell you, listen, I can tell you
Yeah. It ain't.
based on the work that I do, and I'm just going to leave it there. Y'all know in the military, I was a chaplain. I held utmost confidentiality. And
Mhm.
then I knew what was going on and, behind the doors. And then I would see people's Facebook like, huh?
Yes.
You said, what about your spouse now? And I promise you, no judgment or criticism, just confusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I feel like is really what has been created out here. Confusion.
Yes.
Now, it's not to say that there's not possibility, but when we're basing our possibility on what we see on social media, when a lot of it is fake, and you're thinking, talking about harvest, right? So the analogy, you're thinking, man, I want my potatoes to be like hers, when they're not even real potatoes.
Yeah.
Out here with
Yeah.
some plastic potatoes on the.
That's what that box flakes that you put in water and it just becomes a potato. Yeah. No.
Right? You're like, oh man, I wish I could make potatoes like that. I wish I had potatoes like that. I wish I was harvesting potatoes like that. And come to find out, they're not even real, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So, trying to reap other people's harvest. What are
Mhm.
we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah. Whose story are we living? Whose expectations are we living up to? How are we how are we living? Like, are we doing things because our parents said so? Are we doing things because society said that's what we're supposed to do? Are we doing things because it is something that's been stuck within our lineage, like woven within our lineage, is like this is the way things always are. And so we're living somebody else's reality and not the one that is the most authentic to ourselves. And yeah, go ahead. I feel it.
No, and I was going to say, you know, I really want to say that I feel like it's common and um almost just like expected that we don't readily know what's authentic to ourselves. It's
Mm,
hard.
mm,
It's hard
mm,
to readily know what actually is authentic to ourselves.
mm-hmm.
Based on just the life that we live and the society that we're in. Um, you know, being told what is right, what is the right way, what is the way that it's supposed to be, what it's supposed to look like, what you're supposed to feel like. You should be doing this or have had this by this age, by this time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it can be really hard. It
Yeah.
can be really hard to decipher. And I really, that's why I really believe in coaching. I really
Mhm.
do. I believe in coaching. I believe in having a practitioner, an energy worker, and having those pair of eyes outside of yourself to be able to help you to discern. Because if you've
Yeah.
been living in water for so long, you it would be hard for you to discern. Wait a minute, I'm supposed to be. we're supposed to be on land, right? If you've been in the water forever and everybody around you was supposed to be in the water, then it's hard for you to think and see and feel that might not be where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of my earlier years as an accountant. Like, I did love accounting. I did. I actually still do. Right. It's not a job that I want to do anymore, but I did love accounting. I didn't like the corporate spaces that I was in. I didn't like constantly being questioned and having to prove myself.
Mm.
I didn't like how I felt after leaving work and wanting to just go home and sit with a glass of wine or two on the couch and then pass out because I just could not, you know, I could not wrap my head around why I didn't feel good enough, or
Mhm.
like I didn't like crying a lot of the times because I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Right.
Mhm.
And the thing is, like, my parents, I would say my father specifically, is like, you got an accounting degree, right? As I switched to this wellness space. And it's like, I wish you would just go back and work a corporate job. But sir, you never worked that.
Mhm.
You never lived that space. That wasn't
Okay.
your part of your reality. So you keep telling me to go back into this space that made me unhappy, that made
Mhm.
me feel unwell, that made me overwhelmed, it made me question who I was because you think that is more what's the word? Solid, or something that is more acceptable to the world, something that is more than what maybe you have accomplished or created for your life. So you think that is the pinnacle of where things should, like, where I should be. But I hated it. And I hated it. And so I had to start living and planting seeds that were in alignment with who I am and who I want to be. And of course, I went through that experience for plenty of reasons, and I could
Mhm.
utilize a lot of that experience in my current profession and business. But I don't have to. I don't have to be in that space anymore if I
Right.
don't want to, because that is what they want me to harvest, that is what they want me to do, and it doesn't feel good to me. So I'm not living in alignment with somebody else's planted seeds or harvest or whatever we're calling it. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think we should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I so concur, and I feel I've had similar experiences and feel in alignment.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that so many people do, not just women, but people. Um,
Mhm.
and I can, so yeah, I'll go the other way.
Mhm.
Sometimes I catch myself in that pattern with my son,
I can, yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
Um, because I experienced it. Um,
Mhm.
and I'm very aware of it, right? I'm very aware of it. And I desperately want him to do what he's gifted in and what his heart desires and what makes him feel good. I want him to be in that space. And from the beginning, like most of us, we get the first, we get our first career or whatever, and then we switch over to what feels good and what's in alignment, what's really in our
Mhm.
gifting, in our heart space.
Yeah.
But I really am I desperately want him to have that from the beginning, right? To have a
Mhm.
completely different mindset and shift. But I can go so far that way, right?
Mhm.
He can be like, well, I really love music, but I really also love engineering. I really also love math. I think I might be exploring that. And I'm like, but are you doing that because your father's an engineer? And are you doing that because the world thinks that you need to be stable? And do you really like it? And I'm like, no, you love music. So that's what you about to go study because you're going to do what you love. And I have
Yeah.
to also like take a step back and be like, let him explore,
Yeah. Yeah.
let him also discover and figure out and be him. Let him also plant what he needs to plant and
Yeah.
do the nurturing for what he needs to harvest.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, that's the other part that I keep forgetting to share when I do go into my little rants about like, I want to do what I want to do, and my dad doesn't understand. It is, he does. He wants me to be okay. He wants me to have all of this that I need and not to struggle, quote unquote, right? He wants the best for me, but just the way that he's going about it just doesn't work for me. And I don't think it has a holistic view of what works for me as an individual versus what works as people in this society, works for people in this society. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I like that perspective.
Thank you. And then what really then brings us to the space where really the responsibility at the end of the day is on the person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, for me as a parent, I get to, thank you, because I get to shift the focus on really empowering him to say what he needs to say, to feel what he needs to feel, to advocate for himself, right? Because when his father is like, that's my baby girl. When his father is like, well, engineering is safe and, you'll always have a job and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, no, your heart is music. Go do music, right? Then the real power is empowering him to say, I am an individual. I get to explore. I get to fall on my face. I get to fail and dust myself off and gather that learning and that wisdom and become, right? And evolve and grow. And all of that is valuable gold. It's life.
I love this because he gets both. He gets all like a full perspective of there's opportunities to be stable, to be in alignment with what what do I want to say? Like to create structure around which path he takes and different things like that. And then there's also the space to dream and to think about what else is possible outside of a path that has been laid by others. Right. And so now all he has to do is like, well, which one do I want? There's no wrong path. But which way do I want to choose to take in this season, in this moment? So I really love that. I think it's necessary to have the balance of the two, for sure.
Yeah. And which brings us to the space now, right? Because there are lots of people who feel like, they feel shame and they feel guilt because they are shifting at an older age, right? They're changing their path and their life and still have to deal with these questions from their parents, from their spouses, some from adult children, right? Like still having to deal with the energies around us and what everybody feels like is the right thing or what people are modeling, like this is the way.
And I definitely, I think I battle it still to this day. Like I changed my career at 35, right? And there's like, I think about it when like business may be a little rocky or I feel a little stuck or what have you. And it's like, which quote unquote struggle do I want to choose or which path do I want to choose? I can go back into accounting. And I was like, that sounds terrible. I don't want to do that, right? That's a different type of challenge I would experience. And then I just get to push through or move through the challenges that are related to having my own business and growing it from the beginning and different things like that. There's challenges on both ends. It's just which one would I feel the most in alignment with, right? And so that I feel like that is the message for anyone who wants to either switch careers or feel like it's too late or it's too risky, or too whatever word you want to fill in the blank to switch gears. Like, you get to choose either the place that is going to bring you the most happiness and in alignment with who you are, or you can choose what you have always done, because that is familiar and that is the experiences that you've had. Not to say one is better than the other. It is just which one will have you feeling like you are fulfilled in your
Right.
life.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. And I would say the same with method, right? Like how you go about it, because I know you, like myself, we've indulged in having coaches and guides and practitioners. And it's really important, I think, for us to understand that we still have agency, right?
Yes.
Like we still have self agency, even when you are having whatever assessments, human design, astrology charts, personality assessments,
Yeah.
whatever they are, right? Like you still have self agency. You
Right.
still have choice right now
Right.
today. And something may have worked like magic for that person. And then you're like, oh, let me go ahead and try it. And then it's not your magic.
Right. Right.
Right? There's no guilt and shame, and then you tried and you experimented, but allowing yourself the space,
Mm-hmm.
allowing yourself the space to know, okay, that's in my toolbox now. I got that. And guess what? Now I can keep going. I can keep exploring and experimenting to find what is my magic.
Yeah. And also those tools, some tools may work in a certain season and they may not work in another, right? Or they may not work in one season and then you pull on them in a later season and it's like, oh, this makes sense, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
fill up the
Absolutely.
toolbox. Fill up the toolbox with whatever you need that can be supportive to you. If it is meditation or coaching or a self-paced certification or yoga or whatever or getting a reading and then following through with it. If it is journaling, like there's so many different tools that we can call on in different parts of our journey to support us in really discerning what is best for us, instead of trying to live out somebody else's dream. Really,
Right.
like I think a lot of times our people tell us to do things because either they haven't, they feel like they wish they had went for a dream, or they feel like it's unattainable to them. So how could it be attainable for you? Or they're telling you the way that they did it and they think that's going to work for you, like you were just sharing. So yeah, I believe filling up your toolkit with even things like this, like watching this live or watching the replay, are tools to support you in discerning what is the best path, or thinking through what is the best way for you to move forward and for you to reap the benefits of the seeds you planted in the past versus following somebody else's path.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So just want to encourage you all today, if you're feeling like, oh man, at the end of the year, you're looking at somebody else's achievements or goals or what you had achieved. I mean, what you thought you were going to achieve or what you had written down. Just want to encourage you, right? Like you're still living, you're still breathing. There's still time. There's today, right? And we're looking into 2024. And so now is the time where you get to pivot, you get to recalibrate, you get to draw on all of your wisdom, all of the learnings. And now is the time to like really place yourself in a space to find out, okay, what is next for me? What is next in alignment for me?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And I don't, anyone who has joined the Facebook Live definitely can check out my upcoming virtual 3-day event called Freedom Revealed, which is a 3-day journey virtually that you can find radical freedom, self-love, freedom, and abundance, and doing that through first taking a breath and regulating our nervous system through breath work, through meditation, through movement, and other modalities that get us moving our bodies, right? And checking in with our bodies. And then it is our opportunity to rewrite, reprogram, and create a story for your life that feels more in alignment with you, versus what we have been told or what has been woven into our DNA. And then lastly, we get to celebrate together. We get to celebrate each little win, each big win, and celebrate each other in community as we travel through this virtual experience. But it is a beautiful experience to do before we get into the new year, because we get to look at the things that we have experienced over this last year, this last season, these last couple of years, and really create what I like to call standard operating procedures for our lives. And you see how I did that? We still have that corporate Marissa in there, okay? We still have that corporate Marissa in there where, I used to write standard operating procedures for my department and for the business. And we used to test it, and we used to break it, and we used to figure out what made the process more efficient, or what we could stop doing, or how we can be a little bit more effective for the business. And so we get to do the same thing for our lives. And so, yes, definitely join me for Freedom Revealed. There is a link in the chat. And yeah, I feel very complete with this conversation, even though it's shorter than we have been, but it's really to the point. It's really to the point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So whether you've joined us live or joined us on the hashtag, we so appreciate you. We love you. We're sending you a super big hug. Let's move into December with lots of love and light and power. And if you are interested, I actually want to just let that be. If you're interested in joining Marissa's 3-day Freedom Revealed, please visit the link in the chat. I have been subject to her healing powers, particularly through breathing. And so I know that she creates powerful spaces. So yes, absolutely. 3-day Journey Revealed. There's not a lot of time, so go ahead and click the link and register so that you can get in there, okay?
Yes, it's December 8th. Yes, not a lot next weekend. So definitely jump in.
And so, hey, y'all, next month, let's start the month off right. We'll see you back here on Wednesday, same time, same place, and have a fantastic week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.